So right now, economists are divided. About 50% believe that in the next 12 months, there's going to be a recession. 50% believe it'll be avoided. Polls indicate that 69% of US consumers expect a recession in 12 months, and 84% of CEOs believe that's going to happen. And some people think there's positive indicators because GDP is growing. But when you look at rising interest rates, real estate market, when you look at the long pause the Federal Reserve is going to do, maybe raise, and student loan payments that just kicked in, as well as the dollar not going as far, the economy is a major question mark. And you've been in the game a long time. I value your perspective. I'm just curious, what's your mindset? How are you approaching this? What are maybe some of your predictions? Maybe regardless of what happens, what are you personally doing in response to the environment we're going into?
Well, it's an interesting question. And it is because it matters, are you an employee or are you an entrepreneur? So which assumption would you like me to take?
Well, I'd like you to maybe hit both of them because tell us the two scenarios.
If you're an employee, it's going to be disaster. Between technology, changing, wiping out jobs, more performance-based pay, not wages anymore. More and more companies are going to pay only for performance, not just salespeople, but everybody. You're not going to be able to hide inside of corporate structures. There's all kinds of things happening inside of commercial real estate, everything else. All across that landscape, things are just changing dramatically. One of the things the pandemic did is it shrunk maybe a 10-year transition window into 3 years. Our habits have changed. You take a look at what happened to movie theaters as an example. It used to be a regular, normal thing. Now, when was the last time you went to a movie theater to actually see a movie? It's got to be something special. And there isn't that much special that your big screen TV, or maybe you upgraded that TV during the pandemic to be able to watch, is not a close comparable to that experience. So you go to an AMC theater right now and it's kind of sad. It's like they're trying to please come back. It's over. It's over. People have changed. Now they're watching things on their tablets and on their laptops and on their desktops and screencasting from their phone up to a screen on their wall. I have a huge screen TV at my house. We don't want to go to the movie theater. We're fine where we are. So just hurry up and release that movie and put it on Amazon Prime or wherever I can watch it. And that's where I'm going to watch it. So the same thing's going to happen across all employee sectors, in my opinion. It's going to get squeezed, downsizing, unemployment's going to go up, lots of challenges. Now take the other side, the entrepreneur side. Guess what? It doesn't matter. Economic boom or bust, it doesn't matter. It never has for an entrepreneur. People, every election cycle, people are like, this one, if the other guy gets in, it's the end of the world, for sure. That's been said every election for my entire lifetime. And for some employees, maybe that's true, but for entrepreneurs, it never is, because entrepreneurs adapt and entrepreneurs look at every obstacle as an opportunity. And entrepreneurs actually, in the face of recession, that's where most success stories are created, is entrepreneurs step in during those periods of time. Go back and reverse engineer all the big companies that you can think of and find out when they started. You're going to find them starting in pretty difficult times. So entrepreneurs look for opportunity when other people are frozen in fear. They adapt and they pivot while other people are slow to change. I'll tell you this, I think the next 18 months to 3 years is going to be a tale of two cities, literally. For some, it's going to be the best of times. They're going to find opportunity, pivot, adapt, adjust, innovate. And for some, it's going to be the worst of times. It's going to be disaster, and they're going to have lots of stuff that they can blame it on. They're going to blame it on whoever got in the White House. They're going to blame it on global economics. They'll blame it on the Fed, blame it on interest rates, blame it on debt. They blame it on a million things. But entrepreneurs just say, that's fine. You guys stay over there all confused and blaming each other. I'm going to go innovate over here, and I'll create a better business out of it. So I've always kind of grinned at the, what are you going to do? I'm going to adapt. That's what I'm going to do. If the Republicans get in, I'll adapt. If Democrats get in, it's not the end of the world, I'll adapt. And that's what I've been doing my whole life.
There's probably two types of people listening to this. One group got super fired up. They already have the entrepreneur mentality. They maybe were looking ahead with some trepidation, but you just lit that fire again. It's like, that's right. It's a tale of two cities, and I know which camp I'm going to be in. There's others, though, that, we speak to YouTube creators, content creators, people stepping in the creator economy, business owners that are trying to get more leads and clients and sales with content. And then maybe a third group of those that are looking for a side hustle, those that are full-time right now. You're like, employees are going to get squeezed. You got to be thinking about creating extra streams of revenue. What do you think it takes to make that transition? Maybe be clearer. There are those who say, okay, well, it's going to be good for entrepreneurs, but I'm not an entrepreneur. Is there an opportunity for anybody to become one?
Sure. But it takes a bit of reprogramming your mind. One of my mentors, his name is Sam Georges. He was Tony Robbins' CEO for 22 years. Incredible guy. Retired, lives here in Las Vegas. He says there's two kinds of people. One are coin operated, and the other ones are entrepreneurs. And coin operated, put in a coin, you'll get a result, and they're exchanging their time for money or an effort or a result for money. And entrepreneurs are willing to take bigger risks and do what they need to do. So most people have been trained to think like an employee since they were 2 years old. Do as you're told, or there's going to be consequences. Brush your teeth, there's going to be consequences. Stop hitting your sister, finish your vegetables, go to bed, or there's going to be consequences. And then it repeats in school. Study for the test, or there's going to be consequences. You don't pass this grade, there's going to be consequences. That gets built in. Don't be tardy too many days, or there's going to be consequences. You get detention, whatever. You get written up in your permanent record, which I've never seen, by the way. They threatened it so many times when I went to school. And then when you get out of school, you get a job. And in that job, you are consequence driven as well. Show up on time and there's consequences. Here's all long lunches, or there's consequences. Make sure you perform good enough, or, there's going to be consequences. There could be rewards too. So we've been trained to think like employees, and it's exactly opposite of how entrepreneurs think. So employees, when I speak around the world and I ask people, what comes to mind when I say the word work? And guess what I get? Pain, obligation, traffic, drudgery, uncomfortable, obligation. That's the list.
Yeah.
And because of that, and because they've been trained as an employee to work so they can rest, the rest is the objective. The retirement is the objective. The weekend is the objective, right? Mm-hmm. To get away from all this stuff is the objective. So entrepreneurs look at work completely different. Work is passion. Work is creation. Work is purpose. Work is mission. Work is contribution. So why would you want to get away from that?
Yep.
So the employee-minded people think the entrepreneurs are crazy people because they rest just long enough to work, while the employees are working just long enough to rest. So most entrepreneurs can't even fathom. I can't even fathom retirement.
Sure.
I can fathom lifestyle, doing it my way, but I can't fathom like wanting to get away from this. So that's just one example. There's a million that I could give you. Entrepreneurs think on one side of the coin and employees think on the other side of the coin. So whether it's work or investment or sacrifice or time, an employee, for example, is willing to give you about 2 weeks. And if within 2 weeks you don't get paid, they're gone.
Yeah.
But an entrepreneur is willing to be underpaid for a long period of time.
Yes.
Fairly paid for a very short period of time, and then overpaid for a long period of time. They're willing to trade under for over. And that's different, right? Than what people, that this is unfair. You're taking advantage of me. I'm putting in all this work. I'm not getting any results. Or you're working for yourself. This is stupid. Why am I doing this? I'm getting paid $1 an hour for the amount of time that I'm putting into growing my YouTube channel or growing my business. This is dumb. This doesn't even make any sense. But you got to put in that price, and you're willing to invest your time. Where employees are like, nope. If I don't get a certain amount per hour, not doing it. Same thing with the support. Entrepreneurs create support. Everybody else is looking for support. They create their own support. And I could go on and on and on, but you really have to learn how to think like an entrepreneur And you can reprogram your mind, because I think we were all born with creation and contribution and mission and passion and all of that stuff in us. And it was beaten into us, programmed into us to do as we're told, or there's going to be consequences.
If you enjoyed this podcast and are ready for some deep dive YouTube strategy, just go to thinkmasterclass.com to get access to my 1 hour on-demand YouTube strategy class. You'll be looking over my shoulder as I share my best tips, and you can watch it on demand right now at thinkmasterclass.com.